Hey everybody, Hugh here. Welcome back. Well, it's mid-January. We're around in the Polytunnel, one of the grow houses that we actually have here, and I thought I might just do a quick vid on what is going on, or not, as the case may be here. The temperatures at night now are down to between 0 and 2 degrees, sometimes going into the minuses, so it is that cold spot. Bright days, thankfully, after all those darker November, December months. But so at the moment it's like nice to get that bright bit of weather. But it is cold, and no harm. Kill off some of those insects that we don't want carrying over into the spring. But also, of course, the plants are struggling at this time of year. So some of what is going on, well, let me just give you sort of a pan view of the tunnel here. And you can see plenty of space. Jump back to this last summer's videos and it's hard to believe this is the same space, and there was so much going on, and now it's actually quite empty indeed. Well, it's plenty of space for plenty more potential for the year ahead, and that's what we're looking forward to. But for now, I see some of the things I'm not doing is very much not sowing any plants at the moment. I'm tempted at this time of year just because of that bit of brightness, and it's like, oh, spring is ahead. But I've resisted the past couple of years in going too early, because we know that once we get into sort of March sowing times, that plants will spring out very, very quickly. Now, say that to me next month and see where we're at. What I'm actually showing you here, see the snails, little snails actually on the jasmine. They're like, la 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 la, no one's here to pick us off, so we might as well just have a little bit of a munch. Thanks very much. And this is the winter, no, it's not the winter jasmine, this is jasmine polyanthum, and it actually has flower buds. There at the camera, yeah, it actually has flower buds there. So over the next month, once we get a little bit of heat, that'll actually come into flower. These plants can grow outdoors here, but like that, the flowers get hammered when they come out, if there's a February frost or February cold. So indoors here is absolutely perfect for them, and it'll fill the grow house here full of scent, which is great. A couple of shrubs keeping indoors, you can see them there: Hebe, Cookback, Coprosma, and he said looking at the Azara. Yeah, he said looking at the label. Keeping them indoors. The Azara has seen better days for what we want. Of course, we grow everything in containers here because it's the nature of what we're doing. So the Azara has definitely seen better days. So we're debating, do we keep or do we send to somebody else that can actually plant it and grow it as a proper shrub? Not quite sure, but definitely is looking very woody indeed. Also underneath, we have some of our palms that were chemie that we're storing over winter, just to give a little bit of shelter. They can be hardy, but I just don't want to take that sort of a risk with them. And they're a nice size. If you look back videos 2 years ago, you'll see them in the courtyard. They're little wee ones, and at this stage they fill as the flower buckets that I potted them into last year. So probably looking at getting some buckets or something slightly bigger, that sort of size, or even a step up, that sort of size, just to keep that momentum going. But lovely plants, lovely bit of greenery, and they create a certain feel to the courtyard space, or wherever they are indeed. Would you believe there's a potato still growing away? This is one of my potatoes that I had sown in pots last year, and I was reaching into the pots themselves and picking out potatoes and leaving them the mother plant. So it was a bit of an experiment to see, well, how does it actually go and grow. On top here, various geraniums and pelargoniums. Maybe we should put a bit of fleece over those with the cold weather that we're getting. And one of the heuchera is there as well. That doesn't look like it's been vine weevil. So various bits and pieces. And this house, it is cool, but plants tend to survive. Once a bit of sunshine hits it in the middle of the day, it builds up a body of warmth for at night. Primulas and polyanthus there as well. So I got these. They were, I don't know, something like $1.50 each. But then if you bought 50, you got 15 for €15. So I was like, oh, that's a good deal. So I got them in the middle of December, thinking, okay, for this month. At least it's something, some sort of focal interest in here to actually look at. You can see some of the flowers are affected by a little bit of dampness there. So just regularly going around picking off the flowers. Of course, this time of year outdoors, if we're getting rain, it's the water that spoils them, isn't it? And there's one there that needs a bit of watering. If you are going to water these guys, try to avoid putting water on the flowers, because the flowers themselves, while the plants are hardy, the flowers themselves are very delicate. You know, and like that, as flowers go over, or as you're seeing them being affected by a little bit of that dampness, just remove them, because it will spread to the foliage if you don't. So I'm in here probably every 3 days there, but it's just picking through the flowers, and it's just a nice exercise to do, enjoying the little bit of colour that's there, and allowing me to think, okay, well, what's ahead? Like, I do like the primulas, you know, these loud blousy colours, but honestly, these are my favourite. The ones that, the polyanthus, the ones that grow on the stem. See these? Because it lifts the flowers right up above that foliage height, and they're less prone to that sort of dampness that gets in there. So I'm just getting my tray here. But yeah, look, for the price of a couple of cups of coffee and a piece of cake, you have these. It'll be interesting to see how they get on as the weather does level itself up. Will I just be buying newer stock, or or will these actually respond and keep going? Little gazania flower. As part of the clear outs, there was a bit of a mass clear out here last month. I was just like, get rid of them gone. Or was it earlier this month, just after Christmas? Just get loads of things gone that was from last year's. But the gazania survived and actually rewarded us with a flower. And some cannas and pots there, being sheltered under the Fatsia japonica, all indoors. And again, they'll need to be potted on. There's a little bit of greenery there, which is always a worry when we're in the middle of the cold. You'd like to see things just dormant and stay dormant, but such is life. They have a mind of their own. And the likes of the Ostromeria, again, these are pot grown, and you see these tops. Some of them have been deadheaded, but some of them have been munched as well. So even at this time of year, to be looking under those pots if you have them, and fishing out any particularly slugs at this time of year that are quite happy to enjoy the heat under the pots in an area like this. And then at night time, as is their way, they're always happy to, let's go for a walk, have a bit of food before we retire for the night again. So you can see them there. That's great. So yeah, so just like we talk about pottering about with plants. So this is truly just a little bit of minding. Always good to do. Keep the plants in tip-top shape as best as we can. There is, if you look back at the previous videos, there is Judith's clematis, and there's the one I got. So the difference between the two of these, apart from the colours, is about 20 euros. I think I picked my one up for a fiver, and Judith probably paid about 20, was it 25 or something for hers. I know I'm exaggerating, I can see the price there. 17 euros, and I paid 5 for mine. So yeah, the difference of about 10 euros, and both were potted on. Now of course, when she bought hers at full price, it was full of flowers. I bought mine as very straggly, but it's really that this year is when the real competition kicks in. Competition, did I say? Not competition, when we see how they both do. Anyway, it's all a bit of fun. Got a bit of flowers, and again, more of the Ostromeria. And these guys really do just keep going and growing at this time of year. It is incredible. A little bit of heat and they just motor along. Bring you out and show you the other grow houses, and a little bit of the goings on. So rose we have to decide what to do with. there are our leeks that we put in at the end of last summer. Some strawberries in the cold frame that need to be sorted through, and a few other bits there as well. And this is the house I call the greenhouse, and I've always meant to put a label up on it that says Ed's house because Ed gave it to me quite some time ago. And I put a modification in for the door, a wee door frame, so it could actually open the window as things get a little bit going in the growing season, you know, so it allows the air. So this is where our 2-litre potato pots were. There they are. So these were leftover potatoes that we put into some nice rich compost in the middle of last summer thereabouts, and I got a surprisingly nice reward, a couple of bagfuls, which I wasn't really expecting. And most of these, that's a blueberry, and of course there's the Arctic fern, and then some vines, some grapevines. Did a lot of learning last year. Haven't, of course, grown grapes in pots is something I'm learning about. We did a lot of learning last year and how well we were going. We did get some nice grapes from it, but there's more to learn. And that one is quite solid in its pot, which is lovely to see. And of course, at this time of year, you can cut back the woody and thin them out. What is a worry though is this one here. Can you see the movement of the root there? And it's like, ooh, vine weevil. So needless to say, we're going to investigate. They will need to be potted on anyway, just like the palms that we were talking about. Some nice rich compost for the year ahead, but I do need to get into some of those roots and check, and then of course do some pruning. Typically pruning on, this is an older grape I've had in a pot for a few years. You can see on a singular stem I'm pruning side shoots back to spurs and so on. Yeah, just to pruning the side shoots back. Get all sorts of ideas when you're in that space around, oh, can we do step over grapes, or do we train grapes in whatever way? But it was very inspiring seeing grapes growing in mountainsides along the Mediterranean and that, and it's like, oh, that's how they're actually growing, which has encouraged me to do more. And this is the glass house, or Terry's house. She gave this to us quite some time ago as well, and you can see it's just clean. Just cleaning out the rubbish. It really is, leaving things somewhat neat for the year ahead. So anyway, look, it's just capturing the grow houses here, what's going on, middle of January, and it'll be very nice to just track, you know, how things develop and evolve over the year ahead. I want to replace that cold frame, it's fairly battered looking now. Anyway, that's all for another day. I mightn't even get around to it. So there you go. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks for liking and subscribing. And as you plan your growing year ahead, make sure to plan in plenty of enjoyment as you go. And as Mr. Rowley says here, yep, make sure we plan to have a hoot. Anyway, listen, thanks everyone, look after yourselves, stay safe. Bye for now.